Well, Greg, I'm doing great. And listen, this endorsement is remarkable. Obviously, he did more than just say he endorses and supports me. If you look at everything that he said, it shows how closely we work together, how much he both likes me, but also how much he likes Texas. And as he knows, people in Texas like him a lot. Look at what he was able to do in South Texas. He did something no other Republican running for president ever did with the counties that he got in South Texas. So Hispanics in South Texas, he was a transformational president in reaching out to and getting the support of Hispanics along the border. And I'll tell you one reason why is because, unlike what the Democrats try to sell, Hispanics on the border, they really do want the border secure. But Greg, to show you the kind of guy that President Trump is, while I was waiting to come on the air with you, he gave me a call. And he asked how things were going. He said that the endorsement was playing really well across the country, and he was talking about rounding up even more support for me. So he's all in 100%. When he gets behind you, nothing can stop it.
It's pretty wild, huh? We've never had a situation like this before. A former president with this kind of power, this kind of clout. We'll see what happens. Hey, you've got your hands full right now on the border. The situation is not over. You still have a crisis on your hands, and you have issued a disaster declaration for the 34 counties along I guess the Lone Star State's border with Mexico. It's strange how this has kind of faded from the news a little bit. It shouldn't have, but it has. Tell us, please, what's happening.
It's going to be coming back into the news big time over the course of this week and next week because of action that Texas is taking. One reason why it's escaped from the news is because the Biden administration has abandoned it. President Biden, his vice president, the border czar, neither of them have been here yet. And Secretary Mayorkas has only kind of flown by here a couple of times. They are completely ignoring the crisis taking place on the border. And because of that, as governor, I'm having to step up and do the federal government's job. Think about it. You hear about disaster declarations for hurricanes. This is the first time that I'm aware of where I had to declare a disaster for 34 counties along the border because of the crisis, because of so many people coming across the border. And you have cartels organizing efforts where ranchers' property and their fences are torn down, their livestock is let out, their homes are damaged, their cars are broken into, their neighborhoods are dangerous. And we are going to instill safety. We are going to be doing things in Texas that no state has ever done before when it comes to cracking down on anybody coming across the border. We're going to step up and secure the border even more than we already are, because know this, Greg, and that is I've already deployed more than 1,000 Texas Department of Public Safety officers as well as National Guard, but we're going to ratchet up our efforts along the border to make sure we help secure our state and our country.
What do they say to you when you pick up the phone and you call somebody like Secretary Mayorkas? I mean, some of these folks have worked in government before. It seems like it would be very difficult to defend the situation right now and their lack of action. What are they saying behind the scenes? Can you tell us?
I will tell you that when it comes to Secretary Mayorkas, he seems to live in a different universe. He says the border is secure. It would be outrageous, but it sounds just bizarre and crazy because they literally have no idea. And I can't tell if they're just trying to disinform the public or if they really don't know. But they have no idea the magnitude of what's going on the border. And let me give you another example. So regardless if you're in New York or Minnesota or California or Colorado, there is a problem on our border that's killing people across the country, and that's the amount of fentanyl that the cartels are coming across the border with. Just this year alone, in the first 4 months of this year, enough fentanyl has crossed the Texas border and been apprehended by the Texas Department of Public Safety to kill every man, woman, and child in the entire state of New York. Biden's border policy is deadly dangerous across the country, and they are ignoring that danger.
Texas, I learned recently, and you guys, they're trying to push 24-hour voting and drive-through voting in Texas. I'm not an election lawyer, but that sounds rather dangerous. And I have a feeling it's something you don't like, but it's being pushed there.
Well, Greg, I am an election lawyer because I represented the state in election lawsuits when I was the attorney general. And as you know, the Constitution gives to state legislatures the authority to design the election laws for the state. what happened this last election, we had Harris County, which is where Houston is, where they tried to create their own election laws, including this 24-hour voting and the drive-through voting, and it's completely inconsistent with Texas state law, and that's exactly why we're working on passing the election integrity reforms that we are to rein in counties that are not going along with the law passed by the state legislature, which is the mandate in the United States Constitution.
Yeah, and Joe Biden yesterday is really trying to equate efforts like what you're engaged in as Jim Crow on steroids. He said that about Georgia. It seems grossly unfair. And I wonder if he's just out of it, or is that just political? We'll get to that next time. Hey, by the way, I understand we're no defunding of the police in Texas. That's not going to happen.
Absolutely. I signed the bill yesterday where we are going to defund cities, the defund police. It's sad to think about this because people know this happens in Portland and Seattle and Chicago and New York, but for it to happen in Texas, and it did happen in Austin, Texas. Austin did defund their police, and so I signed a bill that will defund Austin. Here's the deal. People shouldn't be taxed in a city and pay revenue to a city that will not provide police for them. So we're going to eliminate a city's ability to increase property taxes or sale taxes or fees or anything like that. Also, people should not be trapped in a city that's not providing police